Hey, what's going on, guys? Well, today I'm going to be reviewing a pair of nail clippers, because why not, right? How can you possibly have a YouTube channel and not be reviewing nail clippers, right? Anyway, I'll tell you the quick story behind these. I was watching a video on YouTube. I think I was watching Chuck from the Bronx, one of his videos, and on the suggested bar, like on the side, which usually has nothing to do with anything you're watching, there was a thumbnail of these. There was a guy on YouTube who did a review on it, and for some reason I kind of clicked on it, caught my eye. I'm like, oh, those look like nail clippers, but they're kind of big and elaborate looking. Let's deal with that. I want to say the person's, I think the YouTube channel was Chino or China Cabra, something like that. If you do a search for Premax nail clippers on YouTube, I think it's the only video, to be honest, because after I saw it, I wanted to look it up and find more information on it. I don't think there was any other videos on it. Regardless, I saw a review. The guy looked like a gear guy, gun in the background, a knife, some, cool pieces of gear and stuff. And this is something that he carried in his EDC, and it's basically some upgraded nail clippers. So I was really interested in it, and when I got those lanyards from Filthy Hammock, I saw they had this on their site, so I picked it up at the same time. Been using them on and off, and it is finally time to do a review on it and talk about it a little bit. Alright, so basically, I've seen these be marketed by Premax, because that's what the label is on here. If you look, the logo says Premax, but I've also seen these sold as a Boker product, a Boker Premax nail clippers. Okay, see the big deal with these is the ring lock, which is this whole thing. Instead of having the pin through the top like a normal pair of nail clippers, or whatever, well, toenail clippers, fingernail clippers, same thing. This basically has a bearing system that goes through the side. Okay, now I'm going to keep this zoomed in for a second, because after about 3 weeks of use, this popped off. Alright, so this is just resting in here for the video. This doesn't serve a huge purpose. I mean, having this on here is supposed to keep perfect tension. So every single time you open and close it, the blades line up perfectly. Even without this, I don't find that it moves at all. Okay, this can't come out because the ends are flared. Okay, it's almost like a rivet. And I did notice there's some glue residue around here. So I think originally, from the manufacturer, these are glued in. Okay, so basically I'm gonna glue that back on. Okay, just so it has the original look and what it was supposed to be. But even without it, they're functioning totally fine. But I definitely had to mention that this thing popped off, which was not cool. All right, so let's back out here and talk a little more about these. Yeah, the big deal is the ring lock. Okay, so how these work is, as it is right now, they don't want to open up very easily. Okay, they're shut because of a magnet. You see there's a little earth magnet in there, and the lever here just basically is connected by that magnetism. Okay, so that's what keeps it closed. So the actual blades are shut. All right, so you can keep this in your pocket, take it in and out of your bag or whatever. It's not going to open up very easily. All right, but when you want to use it, you open it up, flip the lever down, okay, and that's what gives you your spring tension, your spring action. It pushes down on that piece of metal. Okay. The one thing I really like about these is that they're much larger than standard fingernail. Almost friggin' cut into my finger there. They're a lot bigger than regular fingernail clippers. Are a lot longer. You have way more leverage. Okay. I like this because if you're using this for toenails, and because of the size of the blades here, I have used this for fingernail clippers and toenail clippers, which is nice that it's versatile. You, of course, can use, toenail clippers for your fingernails and vice versa, but it's a little bit harder with the fingernail clippers for toenails because it's a small blade, and that angle, it doesn't really match up properly with, a large, especially like your big toe. But anyway, I just like the extra leverage here. These will also very easily cut through zip ties. Okay, so if you have a zip tie, you can use this to snap that open instead of trying to, use one of your blades, which could be a little bit unpredictable. I've cut lots of zip ties with blades before. If you have a nice sharp knife, it's not that much of a problem. However, in a lot of cases, zip ties are very tight around something, so there's not a whole lot of room to stick a blade in. That's where using some kind of snips or clippers like this can really come in handy. So they're tactical nail clippers. You don't just have to use them for your nails. You can also use them for zip ties or, similar type applications. So you can, of course, use this to cut cordage if you wanted to. The sky's the limit, really. The blades are quite far apart. And of course, the biggest thing that I like is that when it's in this full open position here, you have quite a big gap. Number one, it can get around a much larger thing. Again, if you're not using it for clippers for your fingernails, you're using it for, some other purpose. You can get a really big bite onto something, as well as for sharpening. Okay, this makes sharpening a lot easier. These are permanently, attached together with this type of rivet here. They don't come apart like regular nail clippers. I did a video on how to take nail clippers apart to clean them. It's not necessary in this particular case because this opens up so much. Downsides. First off, obviously that this little piece fell off, the ring lock part. Although it didn't change the function of this, it's not supposed to fall off. So that kind of sucks. I don't really care all that much. Like I said, I'm just going to glue it back on. But I want to compare this pair directly to some other ones that I use. All right, I have a pair of Revlon here. If you go to the dollar store, sometimes you'll have just a random pair of nail clippers. It just says China on it. There's no actual brand. More times than not, those are really, really crappy. You can get those things for like 25 cents in some places. They have a big bin of them, 25 cents or 50 cents, whatever, for nail clippers. Pass those up. You should never be using those, mainly because the steel is so poor. They get dull, and then you end up chewing up your nails as opposed to clipping them, and most people don't even sharpen their own nail clippers anyway. Once they get dull, they throw them out. So I would just completely pass those up. I would very much invest, at the very least, in something like this. For like $2 or $3, you can get a pair of Revlon brand or some other, there's obviously a bunch of different brands, makeup brands that they put out manicure sets for girls and stuff like that. These are much better quality. Okay, these are larger, these are toenail clippers, but you can, of course, use these for fingernails. Standard, what we all know nail clippers to be. What I like about a standard pair is the tool here, okay, which has a little cleaning tool, regular fingernail cleaner, which is great to get in there. I mean, this thing really does work great cleaning your nails, as well as the file. I do actually use the file, okay? So like this pair here, I love the way this cuts, that the quality overall is 100 times better than this, but it lacks a file and, this nail cleaning tool, okay? And I love using these tools for, cleaning my nails. The file as well, because once you have a cut on your nail, a lot of times, especially with cheaper ones, I mean, this pair and this pair, neither one of them leave a rough cut. But if you have a real cheap pair of nail clippers, the ends are quite rough, and you want to just knock off that. Almost like you're sharpening a knife, knock off the burr, make sure it's nice and soft, so if you go to scratch your head or something, you're not friggin', bleeding. But yeah, in comparing just a standard pair to this, it does lack that, nail cleaning tool and the file. But it cuts way, way better than this. You know what I mean? It's uncomparable. It's just a cleaner cut. It's crisper. Again, you have way more leverage, especially with like a thick toenail or something. Goes through it like nothing. It really has no problem whatsoever. A pair like this, if you guys are clipping your toenails or something, you get to that point where like you feel like it's gonna push, and I mean, you're literally like, see how much give this has? When you go to cut down, once these blades meet each other, you still have a lot of flex in that handle. And when you push down, it's not pushing as hard. There's way more leverage here. Okay, so you need less pressure to cut thicker nails, like toenails. However, the last pair here, this is a pair of fingernail clippers that a viewer sent me randomly. I think I did the video on how to clean nail clippers, and they saw it and they're like, "Oh, you gotta check these out. These are my favorite clippers." And at first I thought, okay, that's kind of random. Somebody's sending me nail clippers, but these are literally the best nail clippers out there. Let's see, the blade or the handle here says Seiki Edge. Okay, obviously we all know a lot of great steel comes from Seiki City, Japan. All right, this one basically has this plastic container. It catches the nails, so when you clip your nails, it falls in here. It's easy to clean out, kind of houses it. Also has a built-in file, which is phenomenal. But anyway, I use these as a standard, okay, because these things are the best clippers I've ever used. I forget offhand what these cost, but I think these cut a little bit better than that. These aren't nearly as cool as these, okay? If you're a gearhead, this is the kind of pair of nail clippers that you need in your little EDC pouch, in your bob bag, all that kind of stuff. They're just awesome. They're really, really cool. But at the end of the day, they cut better than most nail clippers out there, but still, in my opinion, they don't cut as good as these. it's a minimal difference, but I can tell the difference. This is just the perfect pair of nail clippers ever. So if you ever find those, awesome. However, again, you're not going to get the same leverage as you do with something like this, and I would this to try to cut zip ties and cordage and stuff. But I want to use that as a reference, you know what I mean? So yeah, ups and downs. The cost on these were $24.95, so it's definitely hefty. I mean, we're comparing it to, you know, $3 pair of clippers, or, you know, this is probably more than $3, but I don't think it's $25. Yeah, I mean, I'll put it to you this way. If you have a pocket organizer or a bob bag, or if you care about EDC videos, you probably want to get these. If you don't care about any of that kind of stuff and you're not a gearhead, yeah, you can probably just be fine with your 50-cent, you know, nail clippers from Rite Aid or, you know, the pharmacy or whatever. Not a big deal. But like I said, this does have other applications. This is more capable than a standard pair of nail clippers. These are made in Italy. The quality is good, very good, other than the fact that this thing popped off. But I think this is kind of a fluke. I don't know why mine popped off. I did carry this in my pocket. I EDC'd it. I don't think I showed an EDC video because I probably started carrying it after I filmed my last one. But, you know, maybe that's what it was. I carry other things in my pocket. Things were banging up against it. You know, if you carry this in your pocket without anything rubbing on it, or if you happen to throw it in a bag or something, I don't think you'll have the same problem I had with that ring coming off. But like I said, it didn't affect the functionality of these clippers one bit. They work just as good as, you know, the day I got them with the ring attached. So I'll just glue it back on. It's no big deal. I think it's more cosmetic than anything. I do believe that the ring's on there so that this pin does not slide back and forth, because if there's wiggle in here, the blades might not match up properly. I haven't had that problem happen yet, but I will put the ring back on to prevent that possibility. So that's it, guys. That's my review on these Premax nail clippers. Definitely interesting design. You know, my favorite part of it is just the fact that it has such a big bite there. So you can get in and snip all kinds of stuff, not just your fingernails. So interesting design. So that's all. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys have an awesome day, and I'll see you soon. Take care.